Best metal album of the 90s. Huh. The first one with the absolute stud, Justin Chancellor. Metalhead, does Justin Chancellor get the honorary pick pass?
Without question.
Song that made us interested, I think you interested as well. 46 and 2, the phenomenal track. What I really like about Tool is they're able to combine elements of prog and alternative metal so well to form their own style that so many have attempted to try but haven't successfully done so in the way that Tool has.
Definitely their ideas of pulling in different alternative sounds was definitely revolutionary. Did it always work? Was it always a good idea? No.
Even with a lot of their weirdities and their like total like Tool is just so fucked up. Some of the shit they throw against the wall actually really does stick. Without further bovine excrement, Stinkfist. Very rhythmically driven and catchy, this one. Instrumentally more of a basic Tool song with Adam and Justin taking more of a backseat, but Danny Carey spices it up throughout with little fills and pattern changes in sections, kind of like the jungle percussion at the end.
Dan Carey,
This was a standout album for Danny Carey.
Yeah, he definitely saves the show big time. The main core riff of this song, it's very solid, crunchy, and moody. For a metal attention grabber on like a first track, it works really well. I do enjoy the vocal effects. They're very interesting. It gives like a haunting, almost whispering feel.
Right, I agree. MGK is probably I'm going to say MGK. MGK is probably the biggest standout on this song, singing beautifully during that like walkie-talkie kind of section and exploding onto the hook. Even though it's not necessarily an eventful Tool track by standards set by Lateralus and other stuff they'll later release, it's definitely a catchy, very good radio hit. I give it a 7.5.
Give it a 6.5.
Legendary sampling of that part in SpongeBob when Gary tamed that swarm of jellyfish. Seriously, this is what I love about Tool, creating such a cool ambience with the interesting percussion and that kind of Egyptian riff off in the distance.
In the beginning of this song, what Adam Jones does, he plucks the space between the tuning peg and the nut. It's really, really cool, but after about like 30 seconds, it's like enough.
Yes, I do agree. I think maybe a couple seconds of the Gary hitting his eyeballs together would have been fine, not the 16 hours we end up getting.
And Justin, he's the best part of the intro. It's just melodic and it fits. And then you got like the deep, 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 which is cool. You're like 2 minutes into the song and you're like, can we get some music? Can we get some Tool? Right. And then you got Dan's like toms and bongo sound, and that's cool.
I like how passionate you're getting about this.
I do, because I was really excited going into this album because Lateralus was pretty solid, and I do like a lot of Tool songs, and 46 and 2 is great. But as we go into it, it's just, I was let down.
While I wouldn't describe MJK's lyrics as profound, they are very interesting, thought-provoking, and well-structured, and at times chilling the way he describes the ways this person lived his life.
I would agree that the way that he described it as well, but you're just trying to really get into it, and it's just like random talking here, this random bullshit noise, this nonsense. But in terms of the atmosphere and in terms of the structure, it's not horrendous, and it does capture the feel for the album.
The walkie-talkie vocals worked in Stinkfist, but here they're like so harsh and random, they serve as more of a distraction. He killed the outro scream though, I'll give him that one.
Yeah, that was good.
Instrumental, we have more of the same scenario as Stinkfist, but with Danny putting the band on his back. This kind of just feels like Stinkfist Part 2, but a little bit longer than necessary, so I'd give this one a 6.5.
6.
Justin was one of the undisputed kings of tone, right up there with Cliff. Not just that he adds a distortion on top of it, but it's a kind of distortion that sounds a lot like a guitar, a lot more smoother, a lot clearer than just overdrive with bass.
He's obsessed with his tone, which I think is impressive and something I admire. Everybody's heard a clean tone bass for all of eternity, so when you can throw in like 15 different effects to get people's attention, it's perfect. Sadly though, the song evolves into a medley of just Keenan whispering, random ear-bleeding distortion, bullshit, nonsense crap. I'm actually getting angry as I'm talking about this. Justin and fucking Dan, they are so good. They are so great. They bring so much to the table, and then you just get this rain of just bullshit, nonsense crap that does nothing for the song. It's not art. It's not interesting. It's bullshit. Anybody that listens to this and sits there and
fuck is he talking
that
about?
part where he just went
Did we listen to the same song?
into the microphone, that was
no
the
more
best
or less
was whispering on any of the other tracks that we already listened to in this one?
You know, Keenan, he can do
Why
no
was the
wrong.
whispering
It's just
fine
great.
on 46
it's
and 2?
Stupid bullshit. Doesn't
It's like
add
Maynard
anything to
shot
the
his
song.
fucking
It's
dog or
just
something.
monkey behavior.
Well, he does have a
nonsense
burning
that
passion for every
ruins
vocalist we've ever
aspect.
covered.
And then you get to the outro, you actually get some music. I'm like, holy shit. Just the amount of bullshit in there, just I can't get over. So I give this song a 5.
Okay, let me start with the intro. I thought the pacing was great between the switches of Adam's clean sections and the heavy strums and the pick scrapes in between. One of the better hooks up to this point as well, although I think Adam has used the same riff on every song up to this point. Though most of the song is pretty laid back, it adds so much more tension to the big releases like right at the end. And as for the solo, yeah, that was autism. Give this one a 7. Top 20 bass riff of all time.
Yes.
They achieved the perfect blend of like caveman radio music and prog beautifully on this song. It's a pacing masterpiece as well, and I think a top tier performance from MJK. Incredible changes in velocity during one of the more interesting rhyme schemes I've heard from him as well.
Justin, excellent arrangement, excellent tone, such an ear grabber. And Adam follows perfectly as well. Keenan, he's got good melody, he's got good range, he's got good explosion for it. No random bullshit, no nonsense, no art. This is what I expected from every song. This is by far one of their best songs and the best song on the album, period.
Yeah, I agree. There's like, 46 and 2, 10 empty slots, then 46 and 2 again, then another 15 empty slots, and then the next best song.
It has its own identity. It sounds different, great meaning, great structure.
Can I jump in here, sir,
Yes.
for just 1 second? Gracias. Danny Carey's jazz background and jazz influence definitely shines here, especially in that section during the back half where he's doing his best Buddy Rich impression and everyone's banging on the main riff. Even details like the wah effects at certain points display the genius of this song.
A 9.
9 too. All right,
Yeah.
Unanimous 9. Borat is pissed.
All right, this is your favorite song right now.
Yeah, this is so fucked up and stupid, but it's actually amazing. I think you're gonna have some colorful things to say about it.
When they name a song like this, they deliver on the title. Danny steals the show yet again. The guitar riff is something I've heard at least 15 times already on the album.
This is like total bullshit. At the same time, I do like the subject of how a lot of these fans, oh, you sold out, you sold your soul and you went to the industry. No, actually, no, dickhead. If I never sold out in the first place, you wouldn't even know who I am. Jimmy McGill. Really interesting, almost psychedelic intro and very powerful subject from MJK, who backs it up with a pretty nice performance.
Justin's bass is like a rattling deep perfection. A song that's not total bullshit that I can actually get into the groove of.
That's kind of interesting that you feel that way, because I actually thought it was a very similar feel to H, which what do you give that, like a 5 or something like that?
5.
Really like the guitar increasing in pitch over the verses. It kind of sounds like the Joker theme from The Dark Knight. The dynamic between Justin and Adam on this one is pretty great.
I thought the second half outro was a good change of tempo and volume. I give it a 6.
Give it a 6.5. Bulldozer porn.
This one I give credit was actually kind of funny how they made it sound like it's some Nazi rally, but really it was just a German guy giving out recipes.
To be fair, this is what I would expect to hear from a band called Tool. Formula that works, except when they went to buy the ingredients, they only had the manager's special lyrics. Bulldozer porn, but with extra reverb. Top-notch riff from Justin. Nice rumbly tone and impressive rhythmically in the beginning too. And then as it slowly fades off into the formula that works, Danny comes in to save the day, injecting an obscene amount of roids into his calves to stomp the shit out of that kick drum.
It's a great opening from Adam and Dan and Justin to follow, and then Justin steals the show as he should. Then he gets really nasty and weird, which, I guess if that's the style you want, it works. And then you get to the second half, and it's just like... he decides to tell us to learn how to swim 800 times. It's a repetitive mess after like the first minute or so, and disappointment. 4.
Given the hype I heard about this particular single, I was expecting something a little more unique. I'll give it a 6.
Oh, side-eye?
Yes, Papathini.
Yeah,
More standout jungle music from Danny Carey. Also, somebody check MJK's mic cable, because that same thing happened to us during our Hemispheres review.
It's a good concept, and I think the sound bites they used in the beginning were really, really well placed.
At least we also finally get an explanation as to why MJK is such a fucked up nut job. But yeah, I'm glad to see at least Danny Carey stayed sober for the majority of the song.
We see Justin and Dan carrying the song yet again, no surprise, I don't think, from anyone.
When I saw the runtime, I was like, man, yes! 15-minute prog epic, here we go. But then they said no. Bulldozer porn.
Yeah, this song has zero business being 13 minutes long. I mean, there's probably about 6 minutes of just random bulldozer bullshit nonsense that does nothing for the song. Nothing. Zero. It does nothing. I don't give a shit what anybody says in the comments. There's no way you can defend this in any way, shape, or form. I don't care if you resurrect some fucking scholar from the 1700s and then he writes me with his quill pen a reason as to why this or why this makes sense in the song. It does nothing.
Actually, I agree with it.
That's like if I was I just like went. It's stupid. It's bullshit. It wasn't like this on a lot of their other albums except the newest one.
I'd give this one a out of 10. Overall, while instrumentally I expected a little more, I'd say the concepts and ideas I still found really fascinating and thought-provoking at times, like the concept of the song's third eye and, of course, 46 and 2. And 46 and 2 itself is an all-time classic all around. I'd say maybe let me get some more in before you explode. I'm also really into the ominous, distorted ambience they feature here, but usually I like it backed up with fresh and diverse instrumentals. That being said, Danny Carey delivered a classic performance across the board. While MJK was certainly a mixed bag, at his best on this album is some of the best of his career. He delivers on the lyrical and topical fronts as well. So yes, I feel Lateralis was a significant improvement to this album, but for many under the hood aspects, this album did do a lot of stuff better than even I think Lateralis, and enough to bring my score up to a 7. All right. Have fun.
The approach they took in order to get a thought out of the listeners or use interesting sounds and techniques was a 50-50 hit. Yes, a lot of the tones that they picked and the ambient noises worked, and definitely stuff I haven't heard before. The overwhelmingly Mount Everest mountain of just bullshit nonsense just completely crushes any aspect of that. I was really excited going into this album after Lateralis, which is a night and day difference. I must say I'm very disappointed. Justin and Dan deserve their own statue. Some of the most musically talented musicians I've heard in a while.
Musically talented musicians, yes.
Yes, put it on a t-shirt. Justin wanting to pick 1,500 different tones, just get a different thought out of the listeners, great. Adam Jones is not a bad guitar player, but at the time of this record, clearly he was experimenting with different sounds, doing random bends and squeals and random bullshit. I think I've wasted enough people's time. 5 out of 10.
Wow.
God.